I went for just a routine checkup with my doctor and had been having some kind of odd symptoms, so we ran some blood tests, and it was determined then that I was infertile. It was kind of sad. It was kind of hard to accept.
I had already kind of played with it in my mind that we would have one child and we would spoil her to death.
Imagine our surprise in April 2009 when we discover that I am nearly 6 weeks pregnant. It was a big shock. By the time we went to our first ultrasound, which was at 11 weeks, we were really excited. We could not wait to see the little bean inside my belly, and we brought our 5-year-old with us. We're just so excited, and then I noticed that the tech wasn't talking anymore. She'd become very quiet and not really responding to me, and she excused herself and left the room, and she came back in with a doctor who just looked at the screen and nodded her head, and she explained that we had a 6-millimeter cystic hygroma, which is a fluid-filled sac on the back of the neck, and it's almost always a red flag indicator of a genetic disorder of some sort. She kept going back to the Turner syndrome. She seemed to feel that it was more likely to be that, and gave us some information, some printed information. We went on to meet with the genetic counselor, who then explained it to us. With Turner syndrome, there's many manifestations that can happen with it. Heart defects, major heart defects that require open heart surgeries, and kidney problems where they're either missing a kidney or they have misshaped kidneys. Webbed necks, where the neck actually comes out to here because of the hygroma that had stretched the skin in the womb. And then she had told us that less than 1% will actually survive it. And that's when she said, you really need to consider abortion because your baby will not survive. If you don't abort, then you can expect a miscarry in the next couple of weeks.
Sitting in that office listening to a doctor say, you're not going to have this child. You're probably going to lose this child. A little bit of depression set in there. Fear. Fear was the biggest. Not knowing, what's going on, and can we deal with a child if she does make it.
But if you wait and you don't abort and she doesn't miscarry right away, then you're going to have to go another route because it'll be too late to abort. So make your decision, don't dwell on it, and just move on.
We were not really given much hope, and actually we were sent home to make a decision, basically when to abort.
Immediately came home and locked myself in the bedroom and grabbed my laptop, and everything I found was horrible.
I went outside and I prayed about it, and I thought, no, I would like to give God the opportunity to shine here. So I went back in and I said, Monica, I said, put that stuff away. Let's go to church.
I told him, okay, you're right. We need to go to church, and that is the one place I can go fall apart and it's safe and it's okay. Went down to church and spoke with the minister. And the pastor said, do you mind if we lay hands on you? And that was very different for us. And the entire congregation came forward and laid hands on us. It was so touching that every single person, I mean, they really, this wasn't an act. They really meant it. They really felt it. And they prayed for healing.
The entire church came together for us. Which to me was the deciding factor.
Shortly after, I went and sat back down in my seat so they could begin service. And that's when I felt something happening in the womb that I knew was unexplainable. When you're 11 weeks pregnant, you can't feel a thing. You don't feel the baby moving, but I was feeling the equivalent of a 10-pound baby in my belly flipping around. It was a very strong feeling, like a ball of energy in my stomach, and it tickled tremendously. I knew God was touching me at that moment. He was touching that baby. He had just reached into my womb and had whatever was wrong that was going to be a problem was no longer going to be a problem. It was fixed. We fired the clinic that we initially went to and decided to find a new doctor affiliated with a new hospital that would be more positive. Went in for the 16-week ultrasound, and they discovered that the cystic hygroma was completely gone. There was no evidence it had ever been there. And we went for 23 weeks. They decided they needed to do an echocardiogram. So they checked her heart, and they were looking so hard to find what they were expecting to see, which was coarctation of the aorta. The aorta actually narrows, and that's a major problem for babies with Turner's. It requires multiple surgeries if they survive it. They kept looking, and they had me come back 3 times. And each time they would spend 2 hours looking for this problem. And finally they said, oh, it's not there. And I said, well, of course it's not there. But that's okay. You can keep looking.
And we just really delighted in watching these doctors scratch their head. It was a fun experience.
And then finally, the day came that we went into labor.
Monica had a cesarean. They delivered Ellie, and of course they rush her over and do their thing with her, and they wrapped her up and handed her to me. And at that point, it really sunk in with me that she's here, and that she's real, and that she is okay.
And she was beautiful and healthy.
I looked into her eyes. And I knew she was God sent. I knew she had a purpose. And we had a new addition to our family.
Nearly 100% of women diagnosed just with the cystic hygroma before it's even known if it's Down syndrome or Turner syndrome.
To look her over and see that she had all her fingers and all her toes. And
nearly 100% of women are advised to abort. Just go ahead and abort.
And she was screaming, and she was alive.
And that's what I'm seeing week after week on the support forums, is I've been told to abort. So I try to explain to them that there is more hope than that.
I had the experience of seeing this live child.
That they don't have to abort, and share with them our story.
Where 9 months before we were told she would not live. Praise God.